Hey friends, I am being a super annoying millennial in this vlog episode because in the past 2 or 3 days, I have been a real millennial. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean how millennials and teenagers lately are always seen with our AirPods or some other form of Bluetooth headphones in their ears. And if you are an educator like me, it is really, really annoying because we're always trying to talk to people and we're always like, hey, take your headphones out. I can't talk to you and you're not listening and it's really rude. And then they take them out and they're like, huh? What'd you say? Sorry, I had my AirPods in. Like, yes, I know you had your AirPods in and I need you to take them out because you're being rude. Anyway, so this week I was a legit millennial and my husband was making fun of me because he was like, you always have your AirPods in right now. And I was like, I'm listening to this audiobook that is freaking amazing and I literally cannot with how awesome it is. I was even at work with my AirPods in while I was working, like listening to my audiobook while I was doing things. And then my students were like, Miss Russell, you tell us we can't have our AirPods in, but you have yours in. And I think that it's rude that you're not following the same rules that you give to us. And while half of me was like, well, I'm the adult here. And then the other half of me was like, why are you right? So the only excuse I have for this is that I have been listening to this amazing audiobook. And if you know me, like, well, in person, I am not good at audiobooks. I obviously cannot pay attention to things for long periods of time. And because of that, I don't do well with audiobooks. I can do them in the car, but usually like only when I'm on a road trip. If I'm like commuting to and from work, I don't know. Audiobooks don't do it for me. I like to listen to podcasts on the way home from work because I've got a 45-minute commute. And usually on the way to work, I like to listen to music that's like going to wake me up and get me in the mood to work. But lately, I started this audiobook mainly because Audible has a challenge going on where if you are an Audible member, then if you finish 3 audiobooks that are at least 3 hours long within a certain amount of time, then you get an Amazon gift card added to your Amazon account. So that kind of put me like, all right, let's do this. I'm going to start listening to some audiobooks. And I don't really remember why, but I've really been wanting to read this book, and it's always checked out of the public library. It's always checked out of my library. And a few weeks ago, the Bibliodames did a review of it on Twitter. It's been all over Twitter about what an amazing series it is because the second book just came out. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get the audiobook and I'm gonna listen to it at least on the way home from work. If anything, like I can listen to it somehow and at least know what's going on so that if I ever get the book, I can read it. Well, I think I've only finished maybe 2 or 3 audiobooks in my life because I'm not good at them, like I said. But this audiobook was amazing. Like, I literally cannot with how good it was. Like, I already have the second one of the series on and have been listening to it today while I've been cleaning my house. And by cleaning my house, I mean sitting on my couch. Anyway, so this audiobook is amazing. And I assume the book is also amazing. And it is kind of like a Breakfast Club murder mystery meets Gossip Girl. And if you don't know what I'm talking about by now, I mean One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus, and it is fabulous. So it starts, first chapter, starts with these 4 kids in detention, Bronwyn, Addie, Nate, and Cooper. Sorry, I'm really bad with character names. Y'all know this. Anyway, so they are put in detention, and then they're in there with another kid named Simon, who, as soon as detention starts, drinks a cup of water and dies, like chokes and dies. They later find out there was peanut oil in the water, and Simon had a severe peanut allergy, and that's how he died. But the 4 kids are being told and being like putting it out there that obviously they're the only people that could have killed him. They never suspect the teacher. Like the whole time they're like, oh, it couldn't have been the teacher. Never wasn't the teacher. And in the back of my mind, the whole time I was listening to the book, I was like, why aren't we questioning that it was the teacher? Granted, yes, no, a teacher would never harm their students. But if this kid was as much of a douche as we think he is, like, why wouldn't the teacher? Anyway, so they're all being put in detention in the first place for being framed with phones. Like they can't have phones in this teacher's class. And if they have your phone, then you get detention. But the phones that they got caught with weren't theirs. So they're all like, why were we put here in the first place? Anyway, so as the book goes on, these 4 kids get together and they work together to figure out who killed Simon. Now, Simon also ran a blog. He was not this innocent kid. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, poor Simon. No, Simon was a douche. Like, I'm not going to say he had it coming, but bro had it coming. Like, he ran a blog that was like the gossip girl of their school, and it was not nice. And these four each have a deep, dark secret that Simon was about to release in a post before he died. And then after he is dead, somebody is still maintaining that the blog, but through a Tumblr. So the original blog was called About That, and this one is called About This. And it's intense. Like, oof. And now I understand why people can't put it down. It was freaking amazing. And I can't do murder mysteries. I can't do mysteries at all, or any kind of suspense book. Anyone will tell you I have to read the ending first because it gives me anxiety. But because it was an audiobook, I couldn't read the ending first. So, it was so good. I could not. And the whole time I was like, oh, it's this person. This person did it. And then when you find out who did it, you're like, oh, well, I'm clearly an idiot for not seeing that coming, because people were posting all over social media like, oh, I figured it out in the beginning. I'm clearly an idiot because I did not figure it out. When it started to come to revealing what happened and who did it, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I see how this is going now and I get it. But I was still like, all right. It's not who I thought it was. Anyway, it was amazing. So I just started the second book. The second one is called One of Us Is Next, and it's got Bronwyn's sister this time and some other kids. I really like when sequels are not about the same people, so that if you didn't read the first one, it's okay. But people from the first book do make appearances. So it's always helpful that you read the first book, but you didn't have to. And I have a student in my library aids class this year who frequently starts the series with the second book, because usually our first books of the series are checked out. And he always tells me, like, this is okay if you start it in the second book because it gives you enough backup. And I love when books do that. And this is one that does it, that it gives you enough backup. And it's about different characters that you don't have to have listened to or read the first book. But what I'm doing, because again, I cannot focus while I listen to books. I have to be doing something. So like I said, I was cleaning, this week at work. While I was working, I was listening, but then I had to pause because if I wanted to do something where I actually had to think and focus on something else, it didn't work so well. So I got an Amazon gift card from TCEA for being a volunteer. Shout out to TCEA. Thank you. And I went to the Amazon store. And if you don't live in Austin, you should come to Austin and come to the Amazon store because it's super duper cool. And I bought myself some map colors or colored pencils, whatever you call them, and a coloring book so that I can just kind of color and doodle and just be able to do something while I'm listening to my book. I've not started it yet. I'm about to start it, but I wanted to tell y'all about it first. But I will keep you updated as to how that goes. Maybe this will make me a better listener. Here's hoping, but we'll see. Anyway, that is One of Us Is Lying. Freaking amazing. Put it on your holds list. Put it on your TBR. Buy it. I don't care. Karen McManus is an evil genius because it was amazing. I don't give 5 stars often, but if I could give this one more, I would give it 10. It was amazing. Go read it. Bye.